Soekarno adalah salah satunya. 140 pose setengah bugilnya di sebuah buku foto berjudul Madame de Sugar, terbitan Jepang pada tahun 1993, dinilai mencemarkan nama baik sang proklamator dan dilarang terbit di Indonesia. Setelah sempat 10 tahun tinggal di Paris dan Amerika Serikat, pada tahun 1983, Dewi kembali ke Indonesia. Dewi juga memiliki rumah mewah di Tokyo serta menjalankan bisnis perhiasan dan kosmetik. Hingga kini, ia pun masih menerima uang pensiun mendiang Soekarno. Bagaimana kisah hidup Ratna Sari Dewi yang penuh kontroversi? Dan apa saja kegiatannya selama tinggal di Indonesia maupun di luar negeri? Simak wawancara saya dengan Ratna Sari Dewi dalam Insight kali ini bersama saya, Desi Anwar. Bu Dewi, it's so lovely to see you here in Jakarta. You come to Indonesia often?
Well, once or twice a year, every year, yes.
So once or twice a year, every year. And how do you feel?
It's always such a pleasure to see my old friends. Many of them already passed away, but I have new friends that it's really a pleasure to see them and to share the time.
Yeah, but how do you feel every time you come to Indonesia?
How do I feel?
Yeah, what does it make you feel?
Well, you know, I used to live here altogether 21 years, and I have so many memories. And then always it's a pleasure to see such a development. You know, when I came here, let's say 56 years ago, and today, what a difference. You know? Yeah.
So let's just stop here for a moment and reminisce, because we're in such a beautiful garden with a beautiful weather, and you always look so lovely and charming. Okay, so what is it that keeps you busy these days? I mean, where you come to Indonesia once or twice a year, but where do you live normally?
Oh, I live in Tokyo now because I work there. I work for a Japanese television company for several channels. And it gives me a pleasure. Yes.
So what do you do for this television company? What kind of shows that you
I have several. I have a talk show, variety show, travel, cuisine, and a quiz. And most of the time I give my comments. Yes.
And this is a popular show?
Yes, very, yes.
So if we go to
I
Japan...
work for channel 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 12. NHK, maybe twice a year only. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about one of the shows that you do. What is it that you do, and what do you host, and who do you have as your guest?
Oh, sometimes recent affair, troubles.
Current affairs, issues.
That's right. I have two regular ones. One is Japanese women who married a foreign person and then lives in abroad. And then that gives that country's different custom, the system, circumstances, the different way of life that Japanese wife have facing, and then also its history of that country. And it's very interesting for Japanese people who has never been to Portugal, or who has never been to Brazil, or who never been to Africa. Some Japanese women married to a very remote country, you know.
With very different cultures.
Yeah, different
like
culture.
You yourself did.
Yes.
Like you yourself did. But we'll talk about that later. But how did you get into television? I mean...
I have always been interviewed since I was married to late President Soekarno. Each time I am in Japan, I have been interviewed many times. But as a guest of some television program was starting about 15 years ago. Then I was living in New York. Then I was back and forth between Tokyo and New York. Then I became so popular as a television personality. The needs was demanding me to stay in Japan.
And to be a host of the
right,
program.
yeah.
What do they call you there? How do they pronounce
Devi
it?
Fujin.
Devi Fujin. What does that mean?
It's like Ibu Devi, like a Begum Devi. Madame Devi.
So I should call you Devi Fujin. Do you enjoy doing these TV
Oh,
shows?
yes, of course. Yeah. And then I do many things that people think it's impossible to do.
Such as what?
Such as you are on top of dolphin. And dolphin. And then you are
you have to sit on the dolphin.
Standing on the dolphin and surfing.
On top of the dolphin?
Yes, I will show you.
Okay, but
I can send you the film.
But was it difficult?
Then I will be doing like a circus from the one, how do you go? In Japan it's called blank.
I mean, it's like
like
an acrobatic, or
it's from the one to the other. How do you call that?
Well, some kind of hanging
that
How
do you call that?
A trapeze, a flying trapeze.
Trapeze, that's it, trapeze.
You have to do that.
I don't have to, but I challenge because everybody says it is impossible to do. Okay, I challenge. I'm 74 years old, but I would love to challenge things that people say it is impossible to do. Okay, I challenge, and I managed to do it in 2 days.
In 2 days?
Yes, and that, spirit of challenging gives me youth.
The energy.
Keeps me, it's a positive energy that I get.
Well, no wonder your show is very popular. But tell me, riding on a dolphin, was that difficult?
Riding dolphin, of course I fall to the water many times, but I also managed to do it in 2 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
I can even show you the film.
Okay, we'll take a look at the film later.
And I did the skydiving from 4,000 meters high. I did the skydiving. I did the bungee jump.
Oh my God!
Yeah, because
I haven't done any of those things. It's amazing.
So I give the encouragement for all Japanese ladies by doing that things that people think impossible for 74 years old lady to do. I managed to make it.
And you love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love challenging.
You think 5-10 years from now you'll still be doing the same thing?
I hope so. Cross the finger.
Okay, so other than television, what else do you do? What keeps you busy?
I do also lecture, talk show. I go almost all over the big cities in Japan because they request me to talk. And then I speak about women's life, about world topics, about a little bit of politics, a little bit of culture, a little bit of everything, And then also I have an NPO called Earth Aid Society, and we help those refugees who are sacrificed of politics. Yes.
So, and you also
like for North Korea, I gave 120 tons of rice. I brought it myself in Pyongyang station, and I gave it to North Korean Red Cross Society. I brought all the brass rice,
the rice
from Thailand, China, by the
by land or
no train.
By train.
And I give to, Pyongyang station to the Japanese Red Cross Society.
Why do you do these things? I mean, these are charity works that you're doing.
Why? Because I feel I have to do because the North Korean people were suffering for lack of food, And then also I went to Kashmir when they had, it was some years ago, when they had a huge earthquake. I went myself and I brought 3,556 warm clothes and 2,500 blankets. And I brought it myself. I didn't just ship it. I brought it myself, and I gave it to Pakistani Red Cross Society.
But during the Japanese earthquake in Fukushima, were you also
I went
involved?
21 times. Yeah, I'm sorry. I went 3 times, and I visited 21 different places. And then also I am fighting for animal. I have myself 15 dogs.
15 dogs?
Yes.
And they're all the same
in Japan,
breed, or
in Japan, there are, how do you call it? The dogs that is brought to the
shelter. Like
yeah.
a dog shelter, like an
Yeah.
animal shelter.
Instead of the shelter, they kill the dogs and the cats.
Okay, euthanasia. Or they put them
So
down because they're strays.
yeah. No, well, the people give up having dog and cat, and they throw.
And so you
And we were
give them a new house.
we try to stop. We try to make a regulation for the breeder that all the breeders should have a license. So they should show how much capital they have, if they have the clean places or not, and then if they are experienced or not. We have to make a regulation because there are many black market breeders, and they are producing too many dogs and too many cats just for selling business, you know.
So you have 15 dogs. That must keep you very busy.
Yeah.
Are they all different?
Let's go inside.
Yeah, very
We
hot
go.
out, yeah.
Let's get inside.
Okay, let's continue our conversation inside. Oh, this
Cooler,
is so
more
much
pleasant,
better.
yes.
Yeah, cooler. This is a lovely house, isn't it? So, Ibu Dewi, I mean, I know a lot of your stories have been, covered in the media, written and everything, but I still want to hear it directly from you of the first time that you met President Soekarno. I mean, I know that then you were 19 years old. Could you give us a little bit of the sense of what it was like for you as a 19-year-old meeting the President of the Republic of Indonesia then?
Of course, he had such a charisma, and from his face, the eyes, the big, large eyes that was overflowing the humanity, you know, and he had such a generous heart, and as you know, he was a hero. He was 13 years in jail and exiled, and he has a man of such a strong will, conviction, and who overcome such a suffering and went through such
so many
difficulty, challenges, and then to get independence. He was somebody so extraordinary, you know, and you feel like you get sundered, you know, bang, like this.
Where was it that you first time you met him and you laid eyes on him? And can you remember what was it the first thing that he said to you or when you met him?
Oh, we just introduced, I just introduced myself, I gave my name. It was, in fact, it was a simple tea party, which I was taken. I wasn't invited, my friends were invited.
Tokyo.
Yes, in Tokyo, and I was taken, and then I was introduced. And then, of course, everybody was sitting down, and he was like...
he was the center of attention.
Yes, of course. And he was, as I say to you...
You went up to him.
You I was introduced to him, and I was offered a tea. And then, you know, I was so amazed with his knowledge about Japan. You know, I understand while he was in jail, he has been learning English, Dutch, of course he was speaking Dutch, Russian, and as well as Japanese language. And he was so keen about Japanese history, and he could tell me every hero of Japan, and then he also knew which year, what kind of order that Prince Shotoku Taishi has made, or what Toyotomi Hideyoshi has done, and so forth. And he loved the Saigo, the recent hero at Meiji period. And then he was admiring all this Japanese historical figure. And I was so amazed at how come he is so aware of Japan history.
Was it love at first sight?
No, I wouldn't even dare to say it was a love. No, it was like I was maiden serving a God because he was so great, you know. The love comes much later.
You were introduced by a friend. Was it because at that time President Soekarno visited Japan a lot?
Yeah,
because
he had the first few days official visit, and after it was an unofficial visit, and I met him at the unofficial visit time. Then he invited me to come to Indonesia for 2 weeks, and at that time I was thinking, should I marry or should I, you know? So I said to myself, if I go abroad, maybe I may have some idea about my life, what to do, you know. But also, it is a great honor to be invited to come to Indonesia for, you know, on those days in 1958, 59. There was no even jet plane. It was propeller plane, you know. In order to come to Jakarta, flying from Tokyo, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Singapore, then one night in Singapore, and then you can come here. Anyway, so after I've been here, he took me to Bali in Tampak Sirim, and then we were. For the first time, we become just two of us, and then we saw from the hill of Tampak Siring overlooking all the coconut tree in the evening, and then the big red sun was just sinking.
It sounds very romantic.
Yeah, and then all the shade of coconut tree becoming black and dark, and then it was cool, air was coming, and it was very silent. And then he's asking me, please be my inspiration, please be my strength, and please be joy of my life. So I said to myself, even I live over 100 years, I would never hear such a beautiful proposal, phrase. I said to myself...
He was very eloquent.
Yeah. I said to myself, oh, God must have chosen me to be with him. If this is my destiny, I would like to serve myself. I like to dedicate myself to him, you know. And this is the way.
And you decided there and then in Tampak
Yeah, that's
Siring.
right. Yeah. So these 2 weeks become forever, you know. But my only worry was that I still had my mother there in Japan and my younger brother there, who needed me very badly, you know.
You were 19, and you were still a student then, and then suddenly the president of a country asked you to be his wife, to be his inspiration.
And then his strength.
And then
you know,
you still have parents. What was their reaction?
You know, oh, my mother was very, very, very sad and very upset because she was very proud of me, and she was really hoping something else rather than me coming to Indonesia. Because for a Japanese lady who was born at the Meiji period, Indonesia, she can't imagine what is Indonesia. My mother was really shocked. Yes. But
you made
I
a
thought,
choice.
yes, I made a choice, and I had to pay for my choice because I lost my mother and brother a few years later, and then I carried this burden, you know, this heavy cross in my shoulder rest of my life.
Let's go back to, he proposed to you, and it was
I will show
destiny.
you, I will send to you the book.
So it was destiny for you to have met him and to marry him. What happened after that? So you stayed obviously in the palace. Tell me a little bit about what it was like for you when you became his wife.
In the first 3 years, I had my own house. He was coming to see me, or I was coming to see him at the Istana. Then until I get my own room there. Yes.
And what was it like living in Jakarta then, coming all the way
You know,
from Tokyo? Was it a culture shock? And
Well, first 6 months I could not take much Indonesian food, for example, because Japanese style, little by little, many things comes, and here you have
The rice,
rice
on the plate.
and then
And the many dishes,
yeah, many
yeah.
dishes, and then the coloring is different, and the fragrance is different, lot of spice and so forth. But it's funny enough, after 6 months, with the difference of the weather and then the circumstances, physically you wish to have it. And then now I love it. Now I love it much more than Japanese food. Everywhere I go, I'm in France, I'm in New York, or anywhere, I don't miss so much Japanese, but I miss Indonesian food. Each time I come here, I ask my friend to prepare for me, and I bring back to Japan.
Share with me some of your memories of being, then the first lady, what it was like for you, suddenly getting all the attention, living in the palace, and of course dealing with the previous wives.
If Fatma was no longer there, I was introduced to all his children in the palace. Megawati and Rahmawati, Sukmawati, they all had a bleed, long hair. And then Guru, always his lips was always wet, very cute. And I often see them dancing Javanese dances. They are practicing Javanese dances in a big hall. I did see Guntur. I saw Guntur very rare. He was always politely greeting me. But all the girls, Megawati, Rahmat, Sukma, they have been very friendly and very sweet to me. Yes.
What about?
But I think on those days, they did not know that I was with Bappa. Yes. They think I am a guest from Japan, friend.
But
yeah.
what about Bappa's previous wives? How were they to you? Were they
I
friendly?
have never seen Ibu Harutini until the day of the death of Bappa. Bappa has been telling me, don't think of Harutini, it will only make you sad, so don't think of him, don't think of her. So ever since he told me that, I try not to think of her. Of course, I have had a lot of feelings. All that is in my book. So.
But I want to hear it directly from your mouth about your feelings,
well,
especially since
I
you were
think
young.
I think
They must have been very difficult for you.
well,
Lots
you
of
know,
jealousies,
I
or?
have no friends here, no family here, and of course, if Harutini is from here, and she has a lot of friends, so of course, all her friends who lives in Jakarta as well as in Bogor, they try everything to harm me, everything to hurt me. You cannot imagine what I had to go through. But I bear it. I bear it everything for Bappa. Yes. Of course, I was very young. I was very badly hurt. Very badly hurt, yes. But I have never seen her until the day Bappa died. And we went together in the same plane, same car to Brita. And afterwards, well, I think he told her that while he was still able to speak, he told her that I think he was hiding about me to her. And then when he was house detentioned at Wisma Yaso, when Ibu Harutini came to see him, she was allowed to come to see him time to time. And then I think one day they were watching together the Japanese magazine that was sent from Japan. And then there was a photo of me and Karina. And so that time I think he must have told her, in fact it was Ibu Harutini who told me that for the first time he recognized how, I'm sorry, I have been lying to you. Devi is my wife, and then she bore a child in Japan and so forth. But please be like your younger sister. Both of you try to be a good friend and sister.
Now, towards the end of his life? I know you've made statements saying that there was some kind of conspiracy to actually end his life. I mean, do you still believe that until now, that when he was sick, that he was actually being slowly poisoned, or
yes, I tell you,
a conspiracy to end him prematurely?
Yes. When I went to Wismayaso, he was supposed to be there until 5 days ago, before he was taken to military hospital. I saw his bed was completely gray. The sheet was never been washed. And then I saw in the dressing room 2 basket, like a basket to trap the mouse. So 2 of them is there. And then I went to the bathroom. The laser for shaving, it's scattered around. It's already very red, And then I saw some medical equipment on the corridor, but looks like just like a decoration, never been used. And then I was talking to the servant that used to work for me, and then they said to me, Ibu, when Bapa was taken to military hospital, he was still very well. He was taken to this how do you call that, stretcher. He was trying to get up so hard, saying, I don't want to be taken to the hospital. I wait Ibu Dewi here. I was waiting to wait Ibu Dewi here. He was shouting, I was told. So he was not falling into the ill first. And then when I arrived to the hospital, he was opening his mouth so big, and he was making such a big noise, like this, for hours. It was abnormal, And then I asked my doctor friend. I saw his last minute, before he died, how he was suffering. I explained the situation. He said to me, oh, he must have given so much sleeping pill or sleeping drugs, because most of the people who die commit suiciding with a sleeping pill. The end of the life is like that.
So you felt it was deliberate?
Yes, I think so, because I was crying, and I requested, I want to see the 5 doctors that's supposed to be taking care of him. And then they didn't allow me to see any of the doctors, and it was not fair. And then finally, because I insisted so much, the doctor came. I think if it was not 5, at least 3 doctors came. And I asked them, what is the real situation? What? And then the doctor told me, honestly, I'm sorry, Ibu, we are not allowed to tell you anything.
So it was never proven?
No. I think what has happened is that when I knew, when the government knew that I was flying down, coming from Paris, I think they didn't want me to see him while he was still able to speak for some reason. And I think they thought maybe they have to take his life quickly before I meet him. Because when I arrived in Singapore, I was taken out from the plane, and then I was met by military attaché of Indonesian embassy in Singapore, saying, Ibu, you are not allowed to come into Jakarta. So I said, I'm so sorry. Because I attempted to come back twice before. Last time I was in Bangkok, and I was not allowed. That time the ambassador was Ahmad Yusuf, General Ahmad Yusuf. I wasn't allowed.
What were the reasons they gave you that they wouldn't let you in?
They give no reasons. They just say you are not allowed. So I said, I'm sorry. This time I have to go back, and I hold the Indonesian warga negara passport. No one can stop me, and I'm coming back. I'm going back.